Welcome to the podcast. Y'all ask, what am I talking about with y'all ass? Everything from Nostradamus, Lil Pump, all the way down to Donald Trump. But black issues will be always at the forefront. Hoodies, I know that's just what y'all want. Black life, black love, all of the above. It's King Rashidi hoodies, ice toner gloves. I'm ready, it's Rise God Team. Rest in peace to the God Queens. Hey.
Your peace, what's going on? I'm King Rashidi, and I want to welcome you all back to another dope-ass episode of Hoodies, the podcast. This is probably going to be the shortest podcast I ever did. It's got something I need to get off my chest real quick. Listen, man. Listen. Black people, listen, man. It's just bullshit we got to stop. Election time banter. Damn, I'm sick of that shit. Election time banter. It's like every time this time comes around every 4 years, black folk get to act in a way as if they haven't seen this before. And it's really irritating. So number one, black folk, please stop making other black folk feel guilty for not voting for who you voting for. Right? Because 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, the candidate that you voting for ain't gonna keep nary motherfucking promise. Okay? Stop getting mad because some black folk fuck with Trump. And that's their business. And you Trump supporters, you black Trump supporters, stop getting mad for the black folk who want to fuck with Biden and Kamala Harris. Ain't all the motherfuckers is lying. Ain't none of them motherfuckers gonna keep nary promise. Stop making black folk feel guilty. In fact, stop making other black folk feel guilty for not wanting to vote at all. Chill, man. Stop that shit. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to guilt black folk by using the old adage, our ancestors died for the right to vote. And I've said this before, but when you say stuff like that, you make it sound as though our ancestors, forefathers, elders, if you will, put on a flak jacket, boots, and a helmet, arm strapped with an M16, and went and fought for the right. No. The bill was passed so that we could vote, and our people was murdered on the way there. You know what I'm saying? You know, and listen, when you say our ancestors died for that, no disrespect to our ancestors who were slain as for standing up for voting. Okay? No disrespect to them, but when you lump everybody up, you make it sound as though all of our ancestors was with that. Just like now, there's a lot of our people who don't fuck with the voting process or the government, period. It was like that back then too. So when you say shit like that, you got to be specific. Which ones are you talking about? What if I, and others like me decide to walk in the footsteps of our ancestors who said, fuck the system. Fuck them. You can't shun them. They got more than enough right to feel that way. A lot of us do too, but again, election time has come around and we get amnesia. All these motherfuckers is lying. Please stop doing that shit. Stop doing it. Again, that's no disrespect to our fallen pioneers, ancestors who were slain while or on the way to or while or after casting a vote. You know what I'm saying? But there's a couple things to consider. Our people back then felt as though the voting process was what we needed for the change that they were seeking. And ironically enough, we're still in search of that same type of change. I'm going to go out on the limb here and say that that's what they thought, and here we are today facing the same problems, just in a different form today. So it's safe to say that it didn't work. Voting was not the answer. Bless their hearts, because they felt as though it was. Voting for what we need is just simply not the answer. Take that into consideration. That's how they felt back in the 60s. Okay? It was rhetoric in the 50s, but in the 60s was when it was passed. If I'm not mistaken. Here we are, 2020. And here we are again. Beating up on each other. Imploding. Because some people want to vote, others don't. And if that's not the case, then it's about who they're voting for. In fact, I would suggest that you all keep the shit to yourselves. Some of you motherfuckers go so hard with voting because you ain't doing shit anywhere in your community. And you think going to cast a fucking vote is doing something? That's why y'all go so hard on social media with your I voted stickers. That's because you ain't doing shit else. And this is your way of trying to feel like you doing something. You ain't doing shit. Then there's the whole thing about voting locally. We'll vote for the mayor. And listen, the mayor controls the police, right? The mayor runs the police departments and the sheriffs and so forth. Check it, right? I wrote down a couple things because, like I said, I ain't write down a whole lot because, like I said, I wasn't going to stay here long, right? But for those of you who rock with local elections and, you know what I'm saying, for whoever's running for mayor, let me ask you something since they run the police. Do you think the police are here to protect you or us? No. The police are not here to protect us. Listen to this. Neither the Constitution nor state law impose a general duty upon police officers or other government officials to protect individual persons from harm, even when they know harm will occur. And this is coming from a Darren L. Hutchison, a professor and associate dean at the University of Florida Law School. The Florida School of Law. Police can watch someone attack you and refuse to intervene and not violate the Constitution. The Supreme Court has repeatedly held that the government has only a duty to protect persons who are in custody, he pointed out. The Supreme Court has ruled that police agencies are not obligated to provide protection of citizens. In other words, police are well within their rights to pick and choose when to intervene to protect the lives and property of others, even when a threat is apparent. Okay, in layman's terms, okay, cops don't have a constitutional duty to protect us and exist solely to enforce laws. Laws made up by people who could care less about us or whatever. Those same people are crooks and motherfucking liars themselves. I'm from the south side of Chicago. In Chicago, on the south side, when I go see my man Kenny over on the south side on South Chicago, across the street from the car wash, I ain't gonna give you his exact location, of course. But when me and my Uncle Marty are sitting with Kenny on the stoop, sipping a brew, we watch police go to and fro. So a police presence is there. How is there a strong police presence and yet the crime has not subsided? Let Brother Malcolm tell us, as he told us before, that he asked, why are there so many cops and then there's more crime? He stated that was indicative that the police must be in cahoots with the criminal. Something ain't right. So voting locally, it's still some shady shit popping off. So with that said, I'm telling you, arm yourselves. Arm yourselves. Arm yourselves. I don't know if I ever showed y'all Asada Shakur, my pistol, my first pistol my 22 caliber pistol. I think I may have showed last podcast. Stay strapped, but I got a new addition to the family, and I call her Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer is a pretty piece. She's a 45. Oh man, she's so pretty, thick. Fannie Lou Hamer is a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, while Asada Shakur is a Walther PPKS. Got the laser and the whole nine. Boom. I don't know if you can see it on the wall. Anyway, so with all of that said, hold on, turn the laser off. With all of that said about the police not protecting us, why not arm yourselves? Put some focus on that and stop making each other feel like shit for not voting for whoever or voting at all. And listen, while we're talking about presidential candidates and things like that, you ever notice some of the banter that they use? They always make reference to the middle class and up. The middle class and up. Okay? According to a 2018 report from the Pew Research Center, 52% American adults live in middle-class households. They make an income of $78,442 annually. So that's almost $80,000 a year. I ain't trying to put down y'all or my people in general. But I can guarantee you that most of the people who's always going back and forth about who you voting for and who said this and who said that and why you ain't voting and trying to guilt one another into voting, half of them ain't even middle class. They ain't talking about you anyway. Again, they ain't talking about you. Upper class, upper class, the same research group states that they make about $187,000 and probably more, $187,872 annually. Unless you make that type of bread, they ain't thinking about you. They are not thinking about you. Okay? They ain't thinking about you. I know I'm a little high strung right now, but it really gets irritating. The same thing happens every election time. Every election time. It's like we get amnesia. I was trying to hold off doing a podcast while I focused on the Love documentary. I just had to come and say something about this. So while we're at it, how about this? I recently had an epiphany about my whole thing about judging. It was a podcast that I removed, but I'm not going to get too deep into it. I removed it because some of the footage I used in that video was copywritten and was preventing me from using it on other platforms because of that copyright thing. So I removed it. But I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I will say that Chadwick Boseman's untimely death to colon cancer, it changed my heart in terms of judging, because when he was on the set of The Five Bloods, one of his castmates thought that he was being, somewhat of a diva because there was someone massaging his feet. They were holding his hand, really pampering him, and he assumed that Chadwick Boseman was being a bit of a diva because of the success of the Black Panther movie. Later on, of course, we came to realize that he was terminally ill with colon cancer. So, of course, he's in this video and he's talking about how, wow, he felt like crap for judging him. Okay? So that indirectly taught me a lesson about judging. I also stated that it's important that, that we judge situations. If you got your family with you and other loved ones and you go somewhere or anywhere, just walking out your home, it's important to be judgmental in terms of whether a situation is safe or not. If you're a man, that comes with the territory of being a man. But judging people isn't very wise. It's not wise at all. It's always important to get to know people first before we judge them. You know the term judging a book by its cover. It's always important to open up that book and read its pages. Okay, sure, that person may end up being exactly who and what you thought they was. Then again, they might end up being a total opposite, or both. Duality. I'll never forget duality. But anyway, that's a perfect segue to this right here. This is along the lines of judgment. Black folk, period, we judge each other too much. Too much. Okay? For example, there's this judgment that Native Africans don't like American Africans. And here's what I'll say to that, right? You got some New Yorkers, and of course I'm talking about our people, right? You have New Yorkers who don't fuck with Southerners. And I know people like that personally. I also personally know Southerners who don't fuck with New Yorkers. It was this one dude who used to come in my chair. He PCS'd. He's somewhere, still in Virginia, but think somewhere out in Richmond now. But he would tell me about how he was at some function. It was in the South. And, of course, some of the people that was in attendance was from New York. One of the dudes from New York got to talking all kinds of shit, talking greasy about country folk or Southern folk, right? So what he and some of his mans did to the New York dude, they put the New Yorker in their trunk, drove him out into the sticks, and left him there. That's what they did. Because he said straight up, he can't stand the way they talk, their attitude, and this, that, and the third. A lot of New Yorkers can't stand the way Southerners talk. I'm not a New Yorker, but I've had, and still from time to time, have my little jokes and shit about country/Southern folk because of the slow drawl. Okay? But not to the point to where I think they're stupid. So that's different. I just, crack jokes about the Southern drawl. You understand? So, and also with that, there are West Coasters who don't like East Coasters. Okay? So I'm saying all that to say, right? And I just went off on a tangent. A lot of us don't fuck with each other here in America. So how much sense does it make to think that a lot of our brothers and sisters from the continent, what makes you think that all of them gonna fuck with us? Because I know for a fact a lot of us here in America don't fuck with them. Me personally, when I listen to black folk, period, when I listen to a black person say that they don't like us anyway, and when that's they, meaning Native Africans, when they say stuff like that, I never believe it. I never chime in and say, you're right. I never do that. Okay? I never read into it. I never believe that shit, right? The only way I would ever believe that shit, and I said this before in the podcast, many podcasts ago, the only way I would ever believe something like that is if the person who said it has been to at least 5 different countries in Africa. 5 different ones. And in each country, they had to have had a conversation with at least 5 different people. 5 different countries, 5 people apiece about this matter, about this subject of whether or not they fuck with Africans from America. Okay? That's the only way I would ever believe that. The only way I would ever believe it. Okay? But if your knowledge is coming from one encounter, like say you come in contact with one Native African from wherever, be it Ghana, Nigeria, whatever, and that experience is not so good, and now you think all of our people don't fuck with us, you an idiot. On the flip side, it's the same thing. If you a Native African, if you a Native brother or sister who had an encounter with, say, a New Yorker, and it wasn't so good, so now you've deemed all of us in America as shitty, fuck you too. That's part of one of black folks' biggest problem today is black people. And that's super fucking facts. We are so fucking quick to judge one another, while we still give white folk constantly the benefit of the fucking doubt. That shit irks my nerves, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we should stop judging NBA players. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James was criticized by some people because he had the autobiography of Malcolm X in one post-game interview. Or was it a pre-game interview? Anyway, listen, think what you want to think about the brother, but at least it's a start. At least he's reading. At least he's reading. I know one thing, he better finish the whole thing, because if somebody roll up on him and ask him how he liked the book and he ain't got nothing to say about it, now you look like a sucker. Now you look like you fronting. We also judge protesters. Mind you, I don't think anything happens from protesting. Other than the fact that that's where the solidarity starts. I'm talking about protesting by itself has never done shit. However, like I've said before, that's where the solidarity starts. And I ain't about to get into how. But that's where the solidarity starts. It's when you look to your right and your left and see like-minded individuals. Then it's time to start thinking about what you want to do next. So that's where it could start. However, we judge protesters. But at least they're doing something. Are you? If you ain't doing nothing at all, if you ain't passionate enough about what's going on with black people in America, or period, in the whole diaspora, if you ain't passionate enough to get up off your ass and do something, it behooves you to shut the fuck up while others are. Keep the judgments to yourself. Unless you got something to add, some leadership to add to the situation, shut the fuck up. Please. Shh. Just don't say nothing. Shh. If not, if anything, ask one of them. Why are you doing what you do? Like, what do you expect to get? Ask some questions. Maybe you could provide some insight. Maybe you could be a resource for them, or know someone with resources that could help them take things to the next level. Because at least they're trying. You know what I'm saying? And see, like I said, shortest podcast ever. I just needed to get some shit off my chest. Real quick, before I get out of here, shout out to black folk everywhere, the whole diaspora, men, women, boys, girls, and of course, especially our elders, man. Let's give our elders a round of applause, because they've been through all the crap, all the crap, and they still here giving us all that wisdom. I love elders. I love old folks. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of elders, 12 years ago, I was working at this shop called Hair Designs by Toby, right? And I was her apprentice. I believe she was probably about late 50s at that time. And she took me under her wing and taught me most of what I know as a barber today. After 2 years of being there, she sold the shop. She sold it, but she still stayed in the business. I think she was just kind of tired of the hustle and bustle of ownership, right? So she stayed in the business and worked at another shop. Okay, so she called me last week like, yo, you got any chairs available? I'm like, yeah, I got chairs available. So it's ill how things come full circle, because she works here in my shop now. You know what I'm saying? She's been in the business. She's like 70 something now. She's been in the business for over 25 years, probably more. I wanted to say about 30 years, but that might be pushing it. But over 25 years in the business. And everybody who worked in her shop that I was an apprentice at, because I wasn't the only apprentice, there were probably about 6 or 7 apprentices. Okay? And with the exception of 2, all of us are owners today. All of us are shop owners today whose shops are thriving. Okay? Not just mine. I know at least about 3 shop owners today, not including the ones I just spoke about who used to work at her shop, not them. But I know at least 3 shop owners today who are dealing with some bum-ass barbers and stylists that they can't stand. They got to deal with them, though, because they're in over their head with the bills. You know, them paying their bills is contingent upon the boot print that they get from their barbers or stylists. Me, I don't have that problem. One thing my old man told me, we don't talk now, not like that, right? But one thing he told me when I first opened up, he said, never depend on a barber's boot print to pay your bills, because if they leave, you're going to be stuck. And most importantly, I'm glad that I listened. Well, it doesn't even matter if I listened, because I opened up October 2013. Matter of fact, my 7-year anniversary is this Saturday, October 3rd. But I opened up October 3rd, 2013, and didn't get my first barber until April 2014. So it's safe to say that even if he didn't tell me that, I would have had to learn how to hold it down without booth rent anyway, right? So I'm saying that to say that not only is my business thriving, right, but I also have the luxury of letting go barbers whose work ethic, you know what I'm saying, is not conducive to what I'm trying to do here. I have the luxury of letting people go as needed, and I still do fine. All my bills paid. So I don't have to put up with no crap from nobody. I work in this bitch by myself if I have to. I have that luxury. But I'm saying all that to say, I just went off on a tangent. I'm saying that to say that I was an apprentice to a woman who now works in my shop today. And I brought up how, you know, everybody who worked with her are owners now. I'm saying that to say that's the type of individual who has earned the right to come and go as she pleases inside of, you know, in a barbershop. She's earned the right to come and go as she pleases and come up with her own hours. Okay? Because not only has she been successful in the business, her knowledge has made others successful as well. That's some real each one teach one type shit. So again, shout out to the elders, man. And I let her know when she got here, okay? You can do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, but you will be respected and protected while you're here in my place of business. You dig what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm getting out of here. It's getting late. I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, man. Take care of yourselves and get the fuck off this voting bullshit. I mean, you want to vote? Go ahead and vote. Do what your conscience tells you to do. That's the best way I can see all of this. You do what your conscience tells you to do. Whoever your conscience tells you to vote for, do that. If your conscience says, fuck that, I don't like neither one of them, you got every right to say, fuck it, I ain't voting. Okay? Because I seriously doubt that our ancestors will be proud of the motherfuckers of the choices that we have today. I seriously doubt they'll be proud of that. Keep that in mind. And in closing, I want to leave you with a quote. No people will save themselves until they know themselves and are willing to make sacrifices on behalf of themselves. John Henry Clark. I'm King Rashidi. This is Hoodies.
To the podcast.
All right?
What do we talk about? Who? Always the forefront. Hoodies. I'm ready. God King. God Queen.
Hello. Hello.
Meditate in the hood. Meditate.